What's up? It's Tom. Thanks for clicking on this video. We're going to talk about a handful of Twins topics in this edition of Twins Fives, leading things off with Derek Falvey. Yes, Derek Falvey wants to add. I hope we can add around the group that we have, is what Derek Falvey said at the GM meetings. I believe those were in Las Vegas. Now, what he wants and what he's going to get obviously might be two totally different things, as he does not control the budget. He does not control what the poll ads want to do. But I think there is some interest in Falvey coming out, and I think he's kind of framed things this way a couple times over the last week or so, that the Twins are focused on adding more than subtracting. And, I think you have to take that with a gigantic grain of salt. But I think it is interesting the way Falvey presents things when I think about like Terry Ryan. Terry Ryan would brag at the end of off seasons that he left money on the table and really seemed to carry weight for the poll ads a lot more than Derek Falvey does. Now, I'm not saying that Derek Falvey's my favorite and that Terry Ryan, deserves to be spat at or anything, but that was always a weird thing about the Terry Ryan era. And I do have some confidence that Derek Falvey will spend every last cent that he is budgeted. So, whatever you think about Falvey, I think he should be in hot water. I don't think there's any indication that he is, so it's not even worth discussing that much, to be honest. But I think he is going to go out and try to improve this team, give this team a shot, and, again, spend every last penny that he's going to get from the poll ads. So, whether that results in a team that can win, we'll see, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. But Falvey, talking about adding. And also, the Twins coaching staff was completely finalized this week. So, again, Derek Shelton, the manager. Bench coach is Mark Hallberg, formerly of the Giants. Hitting coach Keith Beauregard, formerly of Detroit. And pitching coach Pete Mackey returns. Obviously, there's a bigger staff. Big ups to Toby Gardenhire, who finally got the call to the big leagues. He's going to be on the coaching staff, moving up from AAA. And Brian Dinkelman. Brian Dinkelman, for the second straight offseason, gets promoted. He moved from Cedar Rapids manager to Wichita's last offseason. Now he's moving up from Wichita to St. Paul. So that's pretty cool. All of these hirings individually, like Mark Hallberg, well, let's just take him. I think if he would have even been in the mix for manager, I would have been pretty intrigued by him. But I just find it really interesting. Like I'm pointing out here, there's such a lack of MLB playing experience on this staff, especially the top of the staff. I consider those top four, manager, bench coach, hitting coach, pitching coach, the top of the staff. Not a single one of them played in the big leagues, and really the only guy that got close was Hallberg. And two of those guys didn't even play pro ball. Both your hitting coach and your pitching coach didn't even fully get into affiliated ball, I should say. With Beauregard, indie ball is pro ball. I don't know. And again, I did note down there, they do have LaTroy Hawkins as bench coach and Grady Sizemore as the outfield/base running instructor and first base coach. So it's not like there's no major league experience, but I don't know. I don't know that you could find another organization that has their top four guys, their manager, bench coach, hitting coach, and pitching coach. None of them have played in the big leagues. And if you factor in, two of them didn't even play affiliated ball, I have to imagine this is the least experienced as players, coaching staff that you would find. Now, does that mean that it's a bad idea to put these names together? No, not necessarily. There's that great quote that those who can do and those who cannot teach. So maybe there's something to that here. And who knows? Maybe the Twins have uncovered something here, and this is the way to go. I don't know. But it just strikes me as very strange. And again, I'm happy that Pete Mackey returned as pitching coach. So it's not like I'm trying to say that I don't like any of these guys in their individual positions. It just seems when you put this group together, kind of makes me scratch my head and wonder, is that going to be a problem in the clubhouse? Especially you don't have Carlos Correa around anymore now either, who was a big voice in that clubhouse. I don't know. I worry about the players looking up to these guys as a potential sticking point. We'll see. It sounds like Royce is really on board, and that's great. Royce Lewis coming off a bad season. Apparently he and Shelton met up at the GM meetings in Vegas. I'm not sure why Shelton is there. Maybe all the managers go, but Royce was there for a MLB PA, I think, charity golf event or something like that. They had dinner, and, Lewis points out that he told me I was important to him and our organization. I told him at points last year I didn't feel like that. It was really important for me to feel that kind of confidence. So Royce has said a lot of weird stuff the past couple of years, and I don't know if he's just not being very thoughtful, but they all point to him not being very happy with, the Twins. Maybe I don't want to single anybody out, but it seems like maybe Rocco or the coaching staff or, I'm not sure, but he just doesn't seem to have been very satisfied with a lot of the way things have been communicated to him. And, hey, obviously it's the offseason. It's kind of easy to be positive, and there's a new manager. They had one dinner and it went well. I don't want to overblow this, but Royce Lewis is a pretty important piece to the puzzle for 2026. And if he's on board, that's a really good first sign for Derek Shelton. I'm not super enthused about the Shelton hiring, but this is a great first sign. If he's connecting with guys and planting some positive seeds, I'm really encouraged to see that. And I will note, putting kind of some screenshots of these articles that these are from. All the links to these articles will be in the description, and there's much more meat in all of these articles than I'm going over just in this quick hit. I just want to kind of react to some of this news. Also, Derek Falvey, Nick Nelson pointed this out, a little quip from the GM meetings that I think Nick got through John Bonus, who was there. Connor Prelip and Marco Raya mentioned by Derek Falvey as potential names in the bullpen picture. He says, I'm kind of excited about some of the arms we have down in the minors. They haven't always hit their stride as starters. I would agree with that assessment on both of those guys. They might be having an ability to impact us in different ways. I'd hate to put too much pressure on any of them, but you see Connor Prelip throw the way he can at times. You see Marco Raya the throw he has. And I think that's a great. I think those two guys should be on a path to the bullpen. Prelip maybe deserves more of a look as a starter. I think Raya, that ship has sailed, but he's got an interesting mix of pitches, and maybe the bullpen, maybe that role would suit him better. Having to be pitching more often and not having, like, if you have a bad start, it doesn't hang over you for days and days and days, and then you kind of carry that weight with you in your next start. I think that might benefit a guy like Marco Raya. And to be frank, he's also kind of failed as a starter. So I don't think you can say Prelip has failed as a starter, but he's not been as pitch efficient as I would like to see. And he obviously, with his injury history, just him building up innings has been a huge challenge. But both of those guys, if you look at some of the guys that have become really good bullpen arms for the Twins, even some of the guys they just traded, a lot of those guys were starters in the minors and kind of fizzled out. I guarantee you some of those guys that really broke out, like Griffin Jacks, let's say. I've regarded Prelip and Raya as much better prospects than I ever regarded Jacks. Now, part of that is Jacks really upped his game when he went to the bullpen and really weaponized his arsenal and got much better. But who's to say that Connor Prelip and Marco Raya couldn't do that? Once you have a guy and just say, hey, give us one inning of your best stuff, you see a totally different pitcher, and they can prepare much differently. They can train much differently. They can change their pitches. They can change to some degree. They can throw with more effort. Everything can change. So I'm excited to see how this bullpen unfolds. And there were some great articles. I have these two from a couple of the mini Codys at Twins Daily. Cody Perkle talking about some bargain relievers. And then Cody Schoenman digging deep into potential guys on minor league contracts, which I love. That is so up my alley to just be digging so deep into bullpen. But I want to call out to Aaron Gleeman wrote an article at The Athletic, kind of along these same lines of like bargain relievers that focused on Kenley Jansen, which I really like that idea. I think the guy leads all of baseball current pitchers in games pitched right now and games finished as well. And, I'm kind of in the mode of get a free agent to put in at closer. And then with Jansen, like if it doesn't work out for you as a team in 2026, which seems very likely for the Twins, you flip him at the deadline. So I really like that idea. He had, I think, 11 more relievers, so go check out that article. But I want to just call out Cody Perkle, specifically highlighted Taylor Rogers there. Past 3 seasons, he's had a 3.16 ERA, 10 K per 9 still, 57 games in each season, 50 innings in each season. So he's still rolling. He's entered his age 35 season, so he probably will be a relative bargain. Twins need lefties, obviously. There's where Ryan Borucki comes in as well. That's the guy that Cody Schoenman highlighted there from Pittsburgh. He's got 187 MLB games under his belt, and left-handed hitters have hit 181, 269, 259 against him. That's a 528 OPS. That's insane. Righties hit him. Yeah, I think you could probably put that together. But he's also a guy that has played for Derek Shelton, so maybe that's something. And again, remember that minor league contract, that there is zero risk basically in a minor league deal. You are not guaranteeing any kind of salary or roster spots to these guys. So that is just a path, regardless of what the Twins do at the major league level. I would be so aggressively recruiting on the minor league signings of relievers and really stressing to these guys, look at our bullpen. This can actually be a selling point. Look at how bad our bullpen is right now. You could make the opening day roster potentially, and I think they will really be an attractive destination for that. But thanks for checking this one out. We'll talk again soon.